All right, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the slight delay. I was off by just about a minute or so, and that is for good reason. I was actually finishing up the newest video, and that video is going to be it's going to be rendered in the background as this is going on. So I want to make sure that this is live and in person, and that you all can hear me. So bear with me for the first couple of seconds, as per usual. I'm starting to see some life stirring. If you are over in the chat, over on the official page, then definitely say hello, say something. Say something, I'm giving up on you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I hope that you can hear me. If it's a little bit scattered, if there's a little bit of clipping, it's going to be because of the video rendering in the background. Of course, there's still the fan that is going because it's still balls hot in here. I hope everyone has seen the Facebook page post and everything like that. I'm doing everything a little bit, I guess, tardy, you could say, or I'm kind of running on a schedule that is very much being dictated at the drop of a hat. And that is the coolest part about this. It's 24 hours of Cover Killer Nation. I would like for someone to indicate to me that they can hear me. Can you hear me? Oh, it is working well. That is great. Excellent. I'm glad to hear that. I'm catching the chat as it is coming, and I'm going to actually zoom into that so I can see everything a little bit better. So what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? 24 hours of Cover Killer Nation is live. It is in progress. We are officially 1 hour and 34 minutes into the occasion as of right now over here on my end. And so far, you have probably wondered why is there only been one video that has been posted. It's mainly because we had that Lamb of God Overlord track review earlier today. So we got things going a little bit earlier than expected. And plus, I know a lot of you wanted to check out that August Burns Red video. You've been clamoring for me to do it all weekend long, but I wanted to save that specifically for this occasion. Now, like I said, if things are a little bit choppy on the stream, I'm just using the webcam. I'm not really doing anything all that high tech with these stupid things, you know, including picking out earwax on air. And the past hour, what has actually gotten me a little late is the fact that I just recorded I just recorded 2 more videos. Neither of them are of the album review variety. One of them is kind of a CKN Reacts, and I will not spoil that topic, but I will say that it has to do with a Blabbermouth article that just came to my attention a little bit earlier today. And the second one is actually, it's not a top 5 list, it's a 5 ways list, something that's a little bit different for this channel. And it's based off of an idea that I had whenever, like all the way back whenever What's-His-Face left One Direction. But I never ever kind of knew how I wanted to accomplish it and pull it off. So what better time than 24 hours of Cover Killer Nation for me to decide to just give it a go and see what the fuck happens. You never know what might occur. It's a lot of fun. It's pretty funny, I will say. I think it really kind of hits a couple of the groups that are mentioned pretty well. I still need to up this a little bit. Good God. I am horrible whenever it comes to reading with these sunglasses on, but that's A-okay by me. And yes, I am keeping the caffeine up because I need that. I have actually been up. I didn't wake up just before this this occasion. I had been up for a number of hours before that. In fact, I was up around 9 o'clock this morning. I had a business meeting that I had to go down to in Fairmont, West Virginia. For those of you who don't know where that is relative to where I'm at, it's about 45 minutes to an hour to my south. So I was up at 9. I was on the road by 10. I was driving and was in the meeting between 10 o'clock and about 12:30. Then I came back here and did the Lamb of God review a short time after I had gotten back home. And so, yeah, there's a lot that has been going on. Fan funding, by the way, is something that is going on throughout this entire occasion, and I would not push this as much as I have been. However, this is a 24-hour marathon stream. For those of you who didn't catch it 2 years ago, if you weren't subscribed, either that or if just was simply something that you couldn't get to, I stay up 24 hours straight. I make videos, I post videos. This year I have the addition of streaming, which is excellent. It's really cool, which means that for probably about an hour right now, until about 7 o'clock, maybe a little bit after that, and sometime during the day tomorrow, probably a little bit earlier, I would say maybe in the afternoon period. So take what time it is right now for you and maybe subtract 5 hours, and that'll probably be around the time when we're going to aim to do tomorrow's stream. But yeah, it's 24 hours straight, no sleep till Brooklyn. We're just going to be trucking along. I'm going to be producing as many videos as I can. Last time that we did this was 2 years ago, 2013. I think in a 24-hour period, I posted 22 total videos. Now it's going to be, I think, a little less this time around. Though I could be wrong, because I just did two. I just shot 2 in an hour. And it's definitely a pace that I could see myself doing and continuing if I can continue to chunk this stuff out. And I still know of one other video that's certainly happening, mainly because it's already been finalized and shot, and that is there's a new episode of 10 Awesome Songs that's coming. 10 Awesome Songs, volume number 9, so we're up to songs number 81 to 90. It's a pretty diverse list. It's a really fun list. I hope you guys are loving that series. I really do, because I'm having a ton of fun making it and a ton of fun discovering this stuff. I would love to have it take off and be a really big fixture within not only the heavy metal community, but the music community. I realize in order to do that, I'm probably going to have to be a little more diverse. So, yeah. This is just something that's been so much fun for me, because I literally have a hard drive full of just all sorts of random shit. I mean, I haven't even scratched the surface yet, and I'm getting into stuff that I haven't listened to or haven't really remembered in years, because I've just, so many things have reached my ears. But also the new Jungle Rot will be receiving a review, and I am debating. I'm debating on something, Nation. I'm debating on something for the very, very last video, and the only reason why it's even a debate is because it goes against something that I was talking about last week. Whenever we did the stream last week, we did the topic by the hand was streaming and leaks, and I had said even on that very broadcast that a certain album I would not review until right around the release date, and I am very staunchly against that. But this is a huge event. This is 24 hours of Cover Killer Nation, so I am highly tempted to finish off 24 hours of reviewing, which will be tomorrow at around 4:30 p.m. I'm very, very tempted to close it out with Between the Buried and Me's Coma Ecliptic. I am very, very tempted, because I do have it. I do have an advanced copy that has been made available to me. But I hate to do stuff without the band first streaming the album, without the band really doing anything with it. So I'm toiling with this idea. I'm really, really toiling with this idea, because if I do it, I'm kind of a hypocrite a little bit. And I'm going to get to something really funny in just a minute. But if I don't do it, I feel like it will have been an opportunity kind of missed, in the fact that what better time than during 24 hours of Cover Killer Nation to do that. And what's funny is that I keep on looking. I'm not looking at my webcam. My webcam is right here, right in front of me on my computer here. I'm looking at the location where I shoot with the camera that I use. I'm looking at that location as opposed to my webcam location. I suppose you could say it's out of habit, which is kind of hysterical to me. So, man, oh man. 24 hours, though, we've done this once before. It was in 2013, and it was wild. It was crazy. It was nuts. It was a lot of fun. We did a couple things that were funny. We did a couple things that were just kind of out there. We reviewed some old albums and some new. Of course, here in 2015, we have so many other things that we can talk about and handle, and different things that like that. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. What is an album? What is an album from, let's say, what is an album from the band Slayer that you'd love to have reviewed? We're going to end up doing the whole discography sometime down the line. But just to kind of give you an example as to what 2013 was all about, what is an album from Slayer that you'd love to see reviewed? And I'll give you a moment. And funnily enough, if I did the Between the Buried and Me album, it would be the second straight 24 hours of Cover Killing Nation that I did a Between the Buried and Me album. Because 2 years ago, I reviewed Colors on 24 hours of Cover Killing Nation. I reviewed Colors on 24 hours of CKN. And I know that a lot of you are probably going to say either Rain and Blood or Show No Mercy for the whole Slayer thing, which is cool. Some of you are saying Hell Awaits. Very cool. To give you a bit of a taste, I'm going to review a Slayer album during this marathon. And I don't know which one it's going to be, and I know that's going to make the eventual discography review a bit discombobulated. But I want to talk about a little bit of Slayer since they do have a new album coming out, and I think Rain and Blood might be the album, but I don't know. Show No Mercy may actually win out simply because that is actually my favorite Slayer album. I love that disc to death. Just the aggression, just how crazy it is, just how nuts it is. It's really kind of what Slayer and what thrash metal in the 1980s, whenever it was first getting started, was really all about. And it's wild. It's just really crazy. And another thing that I want to do during this marathon that I know of, and I'm hoping that I do get to it, and it would be one of these things where, as opposed to how the lists have been going in the past, this would probably have limited editing. It would probably have limited editing. It'd be very, very basic, I would think. But I want to do, in honor of the Book of Souls coming out, I want to do either a top 10 or a top 15 Iron Maiden songs. A personal list of top 10 to top 15 Iron Maiden songs. And I think that'd be kind of neat to do because I have loved this band for so many years that constructing the list is actually going to be a bit challenging. It is actually going to be a little bit of a challenge. So it will be interesting to kind of keep the blood pumping and keep the blood going and try to decide to do that. And what's funny is now I'm all of a sudden spawning the idea of maybe just doing one favorite song off of each album, since they have, I believe, 15 releases right now, which would almost be an even more of a challenging idea, considering there are some albums by Iron Maiden that obviously I know better than others. So I don't know. That's kind of a really unique idea, or maybe I could just kill two birds and do an order of albums from 15 to 1, a ranked, so to speak, and then just do 15 songs and really not even dare for the challenge, because Where Eagles Dare is a great song, but it might not actually make it on the list. But I'm always reminded of the story of Daedalus and Icarus, where I would probably be flying a little close to the sun with my wax wings if I were to really toil with the idea of one favorite song from each album. I mean, that's kind of crazy, but we'll see what happens. I think those are two videos that I think may happen today. I don't want to spend all of this time, though, on just bands that we all know, like Iron Maiden and Slayer. I want to talk about a couple of things that are really, they don't have the appreciation that they deserve. For example, 2 years ago, a couple of albums that we spoke about was Thane to the Throne by Jag Panzer. If you've heard of Jag Panzer in the chat, I want you to indicate that somehow. Hail Jag Panzer, or Jag Panzer was awesome. We talked about Theme to the Throne, which is just a phenomenal album. It's an absolutely phenomenal album, one of their best. It's great. It's right up there for me with Mechanized Warfare as one of their best albums. And then we also talked about Robin by Pharmacon, I do believe, which is an interesting it's an interesting thought that I would do Robin, considering the album that got me into the group, A Warm Glimpse, is probably the one that 2 years later I actually know more of a little bit. Oh, man. So I want to do some things that are a little less known. I want to do some things that are a little less really a little bit less known from people, whether it be from the past or even some groups that are up and coming here in the future. And I like to do that with the CKN's favorite albums. Of course, I haven't done one of those episodes in a while, and I hope to get one of those in during this review marathon. I was so sure that I was going to do that, and right now, I don't know. Because those are ones that I like to edit a little bit. Those are ones I like to give a little bit of effort. So I really don't know if that's going to happen. I really don't know if that's going to happen. Someone is asking if I have listened or reviewed any Motorhead at all, and the answer to that question is yes, I reviewed Aftershock. I reviewed the last album. And I really enjoyed that last album a good bit. I was a very, very big fan of that, and I was really big on how this group continues to still really stay not only relevant but interesting throughout the course of their career. It's pretty cool. I mean, there are so many great bands out there. There are so many crazy good bands out there. Alkaloid. We mentioned those guys in a 10 Awesome Songs, and I never did give that album a review. I never did give that album a review, and you know what? That's an album that could be a contender because I have listened through that. That might be something I could do. So, yeah, the reason I had one individual that said that he couldn't find the stream. He thought the whole entire show was going to be streamed all 24 hours. I wish that I could do that. I really do. But I have a couple reasons why I don't, and I want to address those momentarily. The way that I construct reviews and do everything like that, it's something where it takes up all of my attention. It's something where it is my the number one thing that I handle. Something's happening with the stream here. Maybe it's just my playback. If I lose you guys, just so you know, if I were to happen to lose you guys, I think I just lost my own playback. Nope, there it is. It's back. If I were to happen to lose you guys, there are some storms that are heading this way. And I know that my internet is not exactly king shit. It's not the greatest thing in the world. So if anything were to happen, then John, just hang tight, and I will do my best to get back on. But if you don't see me return for about 5 to 10 minutes, then we'll have to pick things up a little later. That's another reason why Okay. My internet likes to do that. So if you're still here, I thank you for that. If you're still here, I thank you for that. But I also know that it likes to do this often. Like I said, there are some storms in the nearby area. So that's probably working against me. It's not something where I can really control it. You can refresh everything right now. I'm not sure why I'm telling you that, because there's a good chance you won't be able to. You won't be able to hear me. Yeah, right as I mentioned, storms. This decides that it wants to do this shit. It's it's kind of how it happens. So anyways, so I was talking about why I don't just do the whole entire stream on here like this for 24 straight hours, kind of as proof, I guess, that it's happening. You don't need proof from me. Believe me, the output is proof alone. Like I said, 2 years ago, I think we did 22 videos in one day. This year, so far, we've only done 2 officially, but I have 2 more that are ready to go up. And the first one is going to be going up directly after I shut the camera off here. And I think that this is going to be one I'm going to have to call a little earlier because of the storms. But what I will do is that I will attempt to get another one going a little bit later on this evening, maybe within the next hour or so. We will see. I'm going to go until the internet breaks again, pretty much. I wanted to go until about 7 o'clock, and it's 6:25 now, so I want to keep going. One of the other big reasons why I don't do the stream completely 100% on air, aside from what we just saw, with the internet liking to cut out, this is not the best service. But it is also because it is actually kind of distracting. It's a little distracting, and it's not that you are distracting. It's more of so my own personality, is the fact that if I'm going to be on stream and on camera for 24 hours, my thought process will be to do nothing but speak and ramble and try to be entertaining, try to give you a reason to stick around. This is unfortunately not like gameplay or anything like that where there's constant stimulation. It's just me flapping my gums. And I'm not the most interesting man in the world, regardless to what anybody may think, myself included. So it is that's one of the biggest reasons why I don't do that. If I were a gamer and was doing something like this, then I would certainly have the whole thing streamed for 24 hours. In fact, I was watching a couple of months ago a gent doing a 24-hour stream. And even whenever I was asleep and he was still going, I kept the stream up because I just conked out. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool. I remember doing my own, but I don't stream for that reason. Someone just suggested a 24-hour-long angry CKN rant. I would lose my voice after about a half an hour. I would, start to pass out probably after 2. And by hour 3, I'd be dead. I would die from an aneurysm. I would die from spontaneous combustion of anger. Which reminds me, a lot of you guys posted some things over on the Facebook page. You guys posted some of the fan bases that you hate. Some of the fan bases that you love CKN to rip into. And I'm getting to that right now. And of course, reading for me is a bit of an issue. Not because I can't do it. Well, okay, maybe I'm not the best at it. But I want to actually read a couple of these on air. This is the reason why I asked. You probably thought this was going to be a video. It may eventually spark one. But let's actually read a couple of these on air, and I can react a little bit to it. The first one we have is from Chris man, I'm terrible at reading. Carnerio. I probably made something so easy so hard. He says, not a specific band, but the typical snarky YouTube comments. I'm 13 and I listen to insert rock band here. Aren't I so much better than everyone else my age listening to rap and dubstep? That shit's annoying. I agree. But you know what's really, really fun about those people? I'm actually going to defend these people because they are the ones that if you engage them in a conversation as far as telling them you're a fucking punk piece of shit, or say that whatever band that they cite sucks, they will keep coming back. They are relentless little freaking sons of bitches that no quit. They have no off button. They have no off switch. It's because they're 13. Don't get me wrong. No one's impressed with you because you're 13 years old and you know who Journey is. Congratulations. One of the members of Journey was just, I think he was just arrested for potential rape. The drummer, I believe. So was it you? But at any rate, this is something where, in my position, I want those guys to talk forever and act like they're tough forever because they keep coming back and they keep coming back and they keep coming back. And it's weird because it's like hazing these days happens both in school and online. And I think that's why there's so many people that are saying, I've been bullied so much in my entire life, because they're getting it like two different ways. Usually if you went home, there's a good chance that you were safe from it for a little while, at least back in my day whenever I was young. But now you're not even safe from it at home. If you have a Facebook page, you essentially would have to have no internet, and then you're an even bigger loser, and you're getting picked on more. It's a can't-win situation. But those people are crazy. Those little 13-year-old kids. I've had some interesting comments, some of which have been posted on the official CKN page. Others that you can see very clearly on the videos themselves. I just recently had somebody unsubscribed because of I just had somebody unsubscribe because of my because of something that I said on the CKN Reacts video about same-sex marriage being legalized. And that's fine. That doesn't rub me the wrong way. I'm not pissed off. He didn't hurt my feelings. That's fine. You made a decision, and that was your decision. Whoopee. You know, if you're going to get that hurt by one of those comments, if you're going to let that be your pendulum swing as to whether or not you want to be subscribed to someone or not, that's fine. Next one up, we have Michael Myers. It's not spelled the same way as the famous killer from the silver screen, but Halloween movies. Also, I want the poll to be in the chat. There is no poll feature that I know of, but the Rob Zombie remakes, yay or nay? Because personally, the first one kind of yay, second one big time nay. Let me know. He says Slayer's fan base pisses me. We just talked about Slayer. Slayer is great, but Slayer fans seem to think that if Slayer isn't your favorite band, you're not metal enough. Also, it kind of pisses me off when members of the metal community hate on a band for the sole reason that they're popular. When a relatively new and unknown band comes along and all of a sudden it's, oh, who's this band? Never heard of them. They must suck. Like, grow up. Yeah, Slayer's fan base is kind of ridiculous at times. I mean, there are some Slayer fans in the chat, I can tell. And one of the coolest parts about some of you guys is I bet you any money you're going to be the ones that say in the chat, yeah, I'm a Slayer fan. I know I'm fucking crazy. That's cool, man. Jim Brewer, the comedian, actually did a famous bit about Slayer in one of his most recent comedy shows. If you don't know who Jim Brewer is, he was in Half Baked. He's done some other films and such, and recently has become more of a stand-up comedian. And he's hysterical. He's really, really funny. He's done some great impressions of people like Brian Johnson from AC/DC. He's done some James Hetfield. His James Hetfield's better than mine, and mine I think is just kind of borderline. Because James Hetfield blows mine away. Like if I could dial up Jim Brewer and have him do James Hetfield karaoke, I would love that. Now, hating on a band because they're popular, I don't know if that's really the whole reason why it's happening. With some individuals, that's probably true. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm older and I don't really subscribe to that whole idea that, oh, something's popular, then it's not metal. I'm too old to fucking give a shit about that. I think what it really is that it seems like there's a lot of bandwagoning that does go on. Like if one person finally, if one person says that a band is awesome, it seems like 10 jump on and kind of agree. But then if one person says, man, this band is, they've really kind of gone south. Now they're meme worthy. Now they're, they're too big for, it's just bandwagoning. It's people piggybacking is what it really is. And I agree that it's annoying and it does need to stop. But a lot of the folks that are participating in this, I really don't think are people in their 20s and 30s and beyond. And if they are, then they need to reevaluate some life choices. Let's move on. If I destroy your name, I apologize. We have Mank G. Gonzalez, A7X fans. I was a diehard A7X fan until Hail to the King came out. That album was a complete obvious ripoff of the Black Album. Anyone who says otherwise is a fucking moron. What I hate the most is how the fans will defend them to death even when the song or record sucks ass. I won't lie, Hail to the King, it really was kind of a huge, it was a bit of a ripoff of the Black Album in some ways, but in other ways it was a pretty solid release. It's kind of showing that A7X is changing a little bit again. And, they've already changed a couple times, and I don't know. I find it difficult to dislike that album because I really don't dislike much of anything from them as far as albums are concerned. But man, do I agree with the fan base part. Man, oh man, oh man. I dated an A7X fan. I'm going to preface this. It's not the reason for my scorn towards some, not all, by the way. But she was a bit clinically insane whenever it came to the band. And, I've dated folks that have liked all different styles of music, but I've never seen somebody get so clinically insane for a band as she did. And the weird part about it is that I expected, we saw them together live twice, and I kind of expected her to explode into confetti whenever they came out on stage. Her reaction was not all of that wild and crazy. And that was kind of surprising because I know whenever I saw Opeth for the first time, it was like a little confetti explosion inside my soul. Same thing with Porcupine Tree. It was like an affirmation of life actually happening. But A7X fans, some of them, not all of them, like I said, some of them really take their obsession and their love a bit too far. But she was also one of those types of people that if they did something that was different than what they were doing whenever she fell in love with them, probably would have cursed their name. So she probably doesn't like Hail to the King very much. And may not have actually liked Nightmare all that much because it was heavier than what they were doing before. And, I don't know. I don't talk with her anymore. So I can't tell you the answer to that question, though. Part of me is curious, but not curious enough to refriend her and ask. So we have David. Why do you guys have fucking, long-ass names that I can't say, by the way? No offense to you, David. Kaptanovic. That was probably terrible. Nostalgic fans who always seem to bring up how the band died when this band member left, or how they praised the previous band member so much on the most recent song vids on YouTube, no matter how long ago they left the band. I'm wondering if this has a lot to do with people that wear the shirts or post the statuses that it should have been Lars instead of Cliff, or man, oh man, Mike Portnoy is a great drummer, but he'll never replace the Rev to go back with A7X, or this or that. I'm going to agree that this is certainly something that is a bit of a piss off based around the fact that shit happens. You're not going to be able to freaking change that. It isn't something that's going to be changeable. You can't shift that up. For example, 3 Days Grace just got a new singer. And I was talking with my girlfriend about this whenever it happened, and she said, what they really should have done, since they were getting a brand new lead singer and he was doing something else, they should have just changed the name of the band. They should have just changed the name of the band because it doesn't even sound like 3 Days Grace anymore. And I looked at her and I said, It's fucking 3 days grace. The rest of the band members didn't leave. It was just Adam that left, and he was replaced by the gent from My Darkest Days, which I didn't review that album because that would have been hysterical and not in a good way. Because that album was not very good. I've listened to a couple cuts off of it. It would have taken a lot to impress me after that, because it was pretty balls. But it's still 3 days grace. You know, it's not like Adam pointed the finger at them and said, hey, you can't use that name anymore. And she's saying it's because he is the identifying factor of 3 days grace because of his voice. And to a certain extent, I agree with her on that whenever it comes to him being more of the identifier, because he does have a distinct voice. But I disagree that the fact that they'd have to change the name. Imagine that. Imagine what bands we would have right now based around that. Iron Maiden with Bruce Dickinson would, based around that logic, not be called Iron Maiden at all. They'd have to call themselves something different. They couldn't call themselves Samson either, because Samson, or maybe that's what it is. Maybe Bruce Dickinson is Samson, so whenever he comes to Iron Maiden transforms into Samson. This is fucking stupid. Breaking Benjamin is still called Breaking Benjamin because Ben is still in the band, and the rest of the band isn't. It's a brand new band, brand new lineup, just to give an example. Iron Maiden is still called Iron Maiden, even though they've been through roughly 4 or 5 vocalists throughout the course of their career. Whenever Blaze Bayley came along, they didn't change the name of Iron Maiden to Wolf's Bane, either that or to Blaze Bayley's Iron Maiden or Steve Harris's Iron Maiden. I've seen some crazy things out there, you know. This is not something that's all of that new of a concept, but thank God it doesn't happen as often now. Now you just see side projects usually, but wow. Some of us just need to accept the fact that bands need to make decisions like that, and it's not necessarily all because they couldn't get along. Sometimes it's because of other endeavors, either that or other, you know, they want to spend time with their families. They want to pursue other interests, or perhaps for health reasons. And okay, so what if guitarist A is irreplaceable and guitarist B is just a poser? That's what you're going to have to live with. If you really call yourself a fan of a band, you're a fan of the band. You're not just a fan of guitarist A. And that's just the reality of it. Oh boy. Angelus Ignaticus. Fan-based Pantera. Band Pantera. Overrated Pantera. For fuck's sake, shut up. Pantera fan base. There you go. I could probably do a video on this, but I really could. I did a Pantera discography, aside from the first 4 albums, and I was pretty praiseworthy to each of them because I love the albums. But that's the thing, like, I consider myself a Pantera fan, but I don't want to talk about Pantera every 5 fucking seconds and compare them to everybody. Either that or everybody that comes after them, compare them to Pantera. They're not Pantera clones, Pantera ripoffs. They might be influenced by Pantera, but that's about all. You know, unfortunately, Dimebag Darrell is dead, which means a Pantera reunion will only happen if somebody is allowed to take his place. There was talks about that happening with Zakk Wylde. It obviously hasn't happened yet, but I think that if it were to happen, that would be a great choice. I would like to see Pantera work, or the remaining members of Pantera work with Zakk Wylde. But the Pantera reunion doesn't need to happen. It doesn't need to happen. It really doesn't. It's been this long, and Phil is doing his side project City. And of course, they're still down, and everything like that. The fans need to chill out. And you know, this is the fan base where you see it in a lot of people that are trying to be macho, a lot of people that are really trying to flex their muscles, and I've seen the types for the entirety of my life living around here. This is a pretty low income area in Pennsylvania, so you see a lot of Pantera fans that like to go to the gym and hit those weights and get a couple beers in them, and they'll throw down at the slightest idea of a fight being encouraged. So Pantera fanboys do really need to tone it down a little bit. Pantera was a really great band. Pantera is probably not one of the top 25 bands of all time. They might be 20 to 25 on that list at the maximum. They are very influential, and they're very important to metal's history, but they aren't heavy metal just because one of their albums went to #1. Sorry. CJ Bixby, Five Finger Death Punch fans are annoying just like the band. I guess we've kind of seen that a little bit. I don't know. I know Five Finger Death Punch fans. I've never gotten that much grief from them. Most of the grief that I've gotten from people has been online, and that's kind of a whole different ball of wax. We have Christopher Barker here saying what annoys and pisses me off is people, should it be, who say that they are a fan of a certain band, Fall Out Boy, and yet they don't own a single CD because they think that they don't need to. That is kind of annoying. I agree with you, Chris. If you are a fan of the band, you should probably have some merch. You should probably have a CD, or that's why I love physical media, because it really showcases a love and desire. You know, you actually wanted to own this and hold this in your hand and put it on a shelf and really advertise pretty loudly whenever you have guests over, or if you make videos like I do, that you own this. That's why I really, really hate the whole online catalog where everything is right there. It's very, very private, and it's kind of closed off. It's almost like it's trapped in a closet. It's like somebody could have 10,000 songs from Aqua, and nobody would ever know it. And that's really weird. So I kind of agree with that. If you like a band, find a way to get their stuff. If you can't find it at your local store, the internet is your friend. It really is. It really is. Almost every band these days is going to have a web store where they sell their products. Definitely utilize it. If you have to import the stuff, I understand there is a cost difference there. So obviously you're going to do that just with bands that you really love, as opposed to bands that you're just kind of, they're okay. Do so at your discretion, but if you really love a band, you're going to want to own the stuff. I just love having CDs and physical media. All right, so we have Michael Rodriguez. I'm passing over Alex Gross, who had a comment as, oh, there's a new Black Dahlia Murder song out. I know. It's 3 minutes long. It slays. The album's going to be really great. But Michael Rodriguez says, Nickelback, weird screamo pop music. Your opinion on Alaska Thunderfuck? First off, that's a fucking weird-ass name. I remember there was a band that was on, I think, Fallon or something a couple weeks ago. I forget what their name was, too. There's some weird-ass little, like, I don't even know what the hell to call them. They were bad. The Nickelback I've talked about before. The weird part is that Nickelback right now has probably one of the greatest opportunities of their career. A lot of you are looking at me like I'm fucking nuts right now. But Nickelback right now could write a single that sounds just like all of their other stuff. And the rest of the album could be fucking Irish chants, or the rest of the album could be white noise. It could be the sound of Chad Kroeger passing a kidney stone or pooping on Avril Lavigne's face. And I can guarantee you that album would go gold. Probably the first week it came out. That is where formula can sometimes work to your favor, because let's face it, we have become a formulaic society. We've become a society where if something is different than the norm, and I just discussed this actually in the Lamb of God Overlord track review, we've kind of become very self-indulgent. And so if something that we want is different than what it was, it really affects us in a negative way. And we're very closed off, as I sort of mentioned with the iTunes library and all of that. We're very closed off in that. You know, a lot of people would rather stay inside and watch Netflix than perhaps go out and see a movie in a theater where there could be other people there. Because so many people now know of all of the different distractions and all of the different things that can kind of go wrong and ruin the experience. Like, imagine going to a movie theater and you end up sitting right behind the family that has the two kids that just decide that that movie and that time and that place is not the right time for them, and they start to misbehave. It does ruin your experience. And let's say that those parents, they decide that they don't want to take them out of the theater because they'll miss the movie. You know, there's such a thing as having a little bit of logic, and even though you really like a film or something like that, you need to show a little bit of smarts. So, weird screamo pop music. I would need an example of that. So, Andrew Stout, who I was actually just on Andrew Stout's show, The Great American Demise, this past Monday, so like a day ago. He says, gent elitists that think that if a band isn't gent, then they suck balls. I want to know why gent received such kind of a core following that decided that gent was the greatest noise and greatest sound and greatest subgenre on earth. I really kind of want to know that. I still don't get it. I get the idea. I get the musical idea, but aside from that, it's kind of weird. You know, I never would have thought that this was something that would have had such a huge ass following. It's crazy. All right, we have Brandon Macchiato, not macchiato. That's coffee drink or something. Sabbath, I love them, but holy shit, if I hear someone say that they're the greatest metal band of all time and only use the fact that they were the first to support such a claim, I swear I'm going to start punching babies. Start punching babies, Brandon, because that's not going to stop. I can almost guarantee you that. That's one of those facts that a lot of people use whenever they don't want to think of somebody that's done more. Just because you're first doesn't mean that you've done the most for the genre. I mean, let's be real here. Black Sabbath may have influenced just about everybody because they are the first, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they've influenced everybody and had a flawless discography. Let's be honest with you there. It's not something where Ozzy Osbourne necessarily has been in favor within the public throughout this whole entire time period. You know, it's not as though they've maintained their sound. They did have that one album in the 90s that was really, really repulsive, and a couple of others that were pretty bad as well. Sharon Osbourne, I've kind of softened on her a little bit, but for a while there, she's a pretty big fucking cunt. But you know what the funny thing is that she would actually take what I just said and turn it into a joke. And that's why I have respect for her. I have respect for somebody who's able to take that criticism and throw it right back at somebody. And I'd have to laugh at it. I'd have to, because if I didn't, I'd be an asshole because I said something fucking disrespectful to somebody probably twice my age. And she just right back at me. That'd be really kind of cool, actually, if Sharon Osbourne saw this and commented on it. I might be a fucking cunt, but how many cunts have you been fucking or something like that? I don't know. I can't be funny like that. You know, she's gone to fucking talk shows, so she has experience. But, you know, it's just an argument. And everyone's going to have a different opinion. And those that are going to defend that idea so harshly where they're going to kind of lose sight of everything. They're kind of crazy. And I can definitely see the point there. We have Charlie Chambers. It says the geniuses in the comment sections who resort to the oh-so-flawed, pathetic, worthless argument of X band musician has more money popularity than you, therefore they're good. I see it all the time with Lil Wayne fantards, Blood on the Dance Floor fantards, One Direction fantards, even Slayer fans resort to this. It's quite annoying. I agree wholeheartedly with this. I don't give a shit if the band that you like has more money than me. Guess what? They have more money than you. Do you respect everybody who has more money than you do? Because chances are, a lot of the people that say those statements, I probably, and this isn't me bragging actually, because I don't have very much. I really don't. Quite frankly, these past 4 months, my belt has been so tight, I'm surprised I haven't cut myself in half. I probably have more money than them, though. Even if I just find a fucking nickel on the sidewalk, I might have more money than them. It's a really dumb argument. It's one that's really just, it's meant to play the card that, oh, well, who I like is more successful and more popular than you. That's why they're good, because everybody loves them. Obviously, they're good because people love them. No. Obviously, you're a sheep because you follow everyone else. Bah, 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 bah. Because Lil Wayne is bad. One Direction is bad. Blood on the dance floor, that's a crime, but we've discussed that previously. Slayer fans, I don't see this often. Usually whenever I do, I have seen it. The person's ended up being really young, and you could tell that that's all they could think of. We have a couple of others that I'm going to get to, and then I am going to have to end this. This one's kind of funny. Hunter McClivy says, metalheads in general are assholes. Make a rant video, please. We are assholes. We are dicks. I kind of like it, though. But the bad part is that I think what makes it kind of okay is that we're dicks not only to other, types of music, more specifically just specific bands, but we're dicks to one another. The one thing I will say is that metalheads that feel that metal is all that there is and you can't like anything else are really stupid and closed-minded. That's one of my pet peeves. One of my big pet peeves are metalheads that feel that if you aren't listening to metal 24/7, if you step outside that realm and listen to one thing that isn't within the heavy metal realm, like you've betrayed the entire genre and everybody within it. Like we're this strange little cult that is all within this small little room, and we all listen to metal in our different corners of this room. So this room has like a couple million corners. It's a weirdly shaped room. And if you step outside of your corner and you listen to something else, then your punishment is probably death, but not the band. Or maybe that you are excommunicated from the heavy metal society. You have to walk out the door, and you have to have one of those sticks that have your possessions wrapped up in a bandana, and you have to look back and cry a little, and one tear rolls down your face like in all the cartoons and all that shit. I really hate that because it's very closed-minded. You can be a metalhead fan or a metalhead. Metalhead fan is redundant. You can be a metalhead and listen to whatever you want. I know metalheads that listen to Bieber and One Direction. Now, granted, the person who I'm thinking of has children, and that's kind of, and that same child listens to Black Label Society, Metallica, Iron Maiden. So shit's gonna happen, man. That's all I'm gonna say. I think we need to, as metal fans, be a little less closed-minded whenever it comes to the overall picture. And I think we need to just recognize that whenever something sucks, something sucks. If you find yourself tapping your toe to a rock song, that doesn't mean you need to increase your heavy metal quotient and become a better metal fan. No, it doesn't mean that whatsoever. It just means you like a rock song, and you should accept that, and you should actually follow up with that. We're going to do one more. We are going to do one more. And I'm going to try to find it here. Wait, Fear of a Blank Planet by Porcupine Tree. Someone hates that? John Mark Neely? I don't think that's what you mean. I really don't, because that album's pretty flawless. It's a pretty great album. I love it. Okay, this last one is going to be a classic. Austin Kane Krell. Austin Kane Krell says, people who complain about Metallica. I feel like we can find this... I feel like there's a little bit of relevance here in the fact that... what the hell just happened? Hold on, I'm going to type something in the chat real fast. You're going to get this message after I've already typed it in chat. For those of you who are wondering, fan funding has a button that is in the channel page. That's on the channel page. And it's on the right-hand side. Iroquois is awesome, by the way, Romulan. But Metallica, anyhow. Metallica is a group that a lot of people complain about. I've complained about them in some ways, but I think the one thing is that a lot of people don't get is the fact that I still have a hell of a lot of respect for Metallica in spite of everything. I've lost some respect for some certain albums, but sort of what they have meant to the genre and all that still hasn't diminished all of that much. I think one of the biggest problems that people have with Metallica is the fact that within the past 15 years we underwent Napster, we underwent Saint Anger. Death Magnetic was an okay album, but I don't really think it was the return to form everyone was expecting. And then of course there was Lulu. There's been longer time frames for albums to come out. You know, it's not something that's happening every other year or every couple of years. So I think a lot of people have had a long time period to fester and really stew over the past 15 years for this band. And, you know, and some people will even claim albums further back from the 90s and say that it's longer than 15 years. You know, they'll look at Load and Reload. S&M actually wasn't very well received by the people who reviewed it at first. And people still, to this day, dislike the Black Album. You know, there are a lot of folks that are first four Metallica albums through and through. And I can understand why they do, but here's the thing. Metallica is a band that even if you don't like everything that they've done, that's fine, but you do have to give them a little bit of respect. You do have to give them a little bit of respect. And I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. First of all, the things that they did do for music within their first four albums, and really with the Black Album as well, is nothing short of astounding. Some people could say that the Black Album is one of the main reasons why thrash was dying, but thrash was already dying. Second of all, the influence that they have had on a lot of bands that people enjoy these days is pretty wild. You can hear citations of them being an influence from rock groups, from heavy metal groups, and even from pop artists. So that is something that's also present. But I think what's most important about all of this is the fact that Metallica is a group that, even though they have spoken out against certain things, things haven't changed. Spoke out against Napster. There are still ways for you to acquire peer-to-peer stuff online. In fact, for some things, it's encouraged. Napster Bad is still something that's really funny to go back to, but that's even a crude joke that's kind of played out. These guys are just a group of guys that there's an interest in them. I have respect for them. But I can also understand why people who kind of overdo it with their hatred for the band can be exceptionally annoying. And I think the reason why is because the number of reasons I was just able to give to kind of provide them with a little bit of praise or with why you shouldn't take it too seriously, it's the same number of reasons why people will disrespect the band, and usually they'll cite albums. You know, and they disrespect the bands not just because of the musical works. They actually make it sound so damned personal. It's almost like they had this really good friend in Metallica, and then all of a sudden this really good friend went over and befriended somebody else and went and sat at their lunch table and went to their birthday party but didn't come to your birthday party, and decided to take them to space camp instead of you. And it really has this very, very personal sounding idea to it. And as somebody in the chat just said, Metallica is almost like a metalhead starter pack. And I like that a lot because the first band that I ever listened to, the first CD of the heavy metal variety that I ever purchased was Metallica's Reload. Metalhead starter pack, I really, really like that. And I'm not afraid to admit that either. I still, to this day, feel that with Load and Reload, if you cut the albums in half and kind of did a little bit of like strange sewing, you could actually transform Load and Reload, which are 2 albums, into one really, really good album from Metallica. Progressive Night. Greetings from Pennsylvania in America. Switzerland must be beautiful right now, by the way. The Metalhead starter kit. I dig it. I dig it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is a little bit after 7. One of the main reasons why I wanted to end this right now is because I want to get that other video up. And I think it's going to be the 5 ways video. And I'm also afterward going to have to take just a short break. And what I'm going to do while that's happening is I'm going to upload another video to have that go up at around 8 or 8:30 because I'm picking my girlfriend up from work at 8 o'clock. And probably is going to, on the way, stop and grab like a burger or something to bring home. So, for those of you who are still interested in fan funding, I know there was one individual in the chat that made mention. I will mention it again. Fan funding is available on the Cover Killer Nation channel page here on YouTube. It's on the right-hand side. I believe it says something along the lines of support this channel, help support this channel. I'm actually going to move away from the chat right now. That way I can get that officially. There is a, well, there was actually a placement, a little screenshot on the old, on the Facebook page, in the Facebook group. But I, of course, changed that to cater to 24 hours. So I'm going to move over to my channel page real quick just to give you a quick little idea here. I am going to do something interesting here. I'm going to try to reset that zoom a little bit. That's way too much. We're going to reset to the default. And we are going to view this as a returning subscriber, which I'm assuming that you are if you are checking this out. And hopefully I can do this. Let's see here. That's not what I wanted. We're going to screen share. We're going to share this right here. And as you can see, this is the official Cover Killer Nation fan page or YouTube page, the channel page. And right over here on the right-hand side, it says support this channel. And whenever you click on support, the blue button that's right here, it's going to take you to something like this. You can put in $1 or $5, or you can toss in your own amount. And I'll be honest with you, more often than not, people put in their own amount, mainly because most people enjoy decimals for some reason. I don't know why. Either that, or if YouTube takes a cut of this, I'm going to be really, really fucking pissed. But it's a possibility. I took the sunglasses off, by the way, so whenever I come back here, I'm going to look a little bit different. So we're going to get back here. Okay, here we are. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude the stream for the night. If I do decide to come back a little bit later on and do this again, I will certainly let you know over on the Facebook group. Please let everybody know. You know, share the fact that I am live with all of your friends and everybody on Twitter or Facebook, whatever it may be. And I will get those videos uploaded within the next hour, both of them. Both of them. The 5 ways that... Oh, I almost spoiled it. I almost spoiled it. You're going to like the first one that comes up a lot. You really are. You're going to love it a lot, in fact. So be on the lookout for that. That should be up within the next, I would say, 20 minutes or so. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow in that case if I'm not back on tonight. Like I said, I'll let you know if I do come back. Tomorrow, I'm going to aim for around 1 p.m. Eastern time for the stream. So do the math for what that would be in your area. There are a couple of great guides online that can help out with that. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much. And this playback of this stream right here will be available on YouTube for everybody who missed it. So if you are viewing this and you missed the stream, I'm glad that you still had the opportunity to check it out. And I'll talk to you later. Peace.